Choose the correct word from those in brackets. Now, remember, question 2 is the cash flow. So they say here, what are earnings by shareholders as a return for their investment? It's the dividends. Ne? Earnings is the part of the profit that goes to people. Okay. A decrease in debtors indicate a cash inflow or outflow. So, if a debtor pays me, is money coming in or out? In. It's an inflow. Interest expense is classified as an operating or financing expense. And it's definitely financing, because if you do your income statement, it was not part of operating expenses. You do it separately at the bottom. Mayan Tech. The information below relates to the financial year ending. And can you see what he did here? He made the financial year a weird one. We have never done that. It's always 28 February or 30 June. Right? So now, please be aware of that. Prepare the ordinary share capital note to the following cash flow thingies. Prepare the following sections. And then there's questions. So up until there, you should be extremely comfortable, because this, the basics here, is formats. So we start. When you do your ordinary share capital note, the first thing you do is you write down, they already printed for you. Oh, my nails look horrible. Sorry, I'll do that. Okay, so it starts with the beginning, the movement, and the end. Just like fixed assets. Beginning, movement, end. Everything in accounting is like that. So the movements is the only things that can change. It's always you buy shares and you issue shares. So which one is first? So in this case, I issued first and then I repurchased. Okay. So now I go look what information. Now you can see they already put in the opening and the closing. The easy stuff is already done for you. Now let's go look. And it's very important that you see that these people help you by giving you headings. Okay. So, additional shares were issued. Can you see there's no figure? Which means this one is going to be a balancing figure. Does that make sense? So it means that everything else you're supposed to be able to calculate. So they say, on 1st September, there were 800,000 shares in issue. Is 1st September the beginning or the end? It's in between. Ne? Let's quickly look. What is my financial year? It starts the 1st of June. It ends 31st May. There's 25. There's 24. So if I look at this now, 1st September would be here. Now he gives you shares in the middle of the year. 800,000. Okay. Interim dividends paid on 30 April 25. Can you see that's here? The company bought back shares. The average price amounted to 85% of the repurchase price. Okay? Meaning 15% was above average. These shares qualify for final dividends. This is an important one because usually these shares does not qualify. On 31st May, there were 705 shares in issue. Can you see? They give me that one. So I have something to start with. Thank goodness. So I start with that. Now, what do they tell me? They tell me that this, I need the average price. And what did I teach you? I taught you that if they give me, I have the figure and the units, I can get the average. So if you say 7191 divided 705, it's going to give you 1020. So I already have this. You guys with me? Okay, now let's see. Okay, final financial records the end of last year. 500,000 shares were in issue. So they give you this one. Okay? Everybody with me? So I already got 1, 2, 3 marks given. Now it starts getting difficult. What's the next thing we can do? What is it that they told me? They said 1st September, and can you now see, it's important that you see how the things are stacked, right? So you can see the shares issued, happened before the repurchase, okay? The repurchase happened 30 April. So do you agree with me that if they say this amount for me in September, and they say the opening is 500, then it means those two together must give me 800. So now I can get the 300. You guys see it? So now when I get all of that, so the principle for balancing is always, if I have everything except one, I can get that one. So I short this one. So if I short this one, I say 705 minus 300 minus 500, and that's going to give me the 95. So now I have that one. So can you see how your puzzle is building? So what is the next one I'm going to get? This one, because I say 95 times this gives me this. So now I have that one. And now the rule is there again. If I have everything except one, I balance. So I am just going to reverse. But can you see this is a really difficult note? Because it's asked not because of the stuff going in, but because of the stuff they give you. It's different than what you used to. Can you see you cannot go in if you do not know your format and if you do not know your rules. So let me quickly just give you the rules. The rules for this is always the opening and the closing. If the repurchase is just after the opening, you can get the average by the opening. If the repurchase is at the bottom, just before the closing, you can get the average through the closing. You guys with me? The other thing, if you have everything except one, you reverse, you balance. Okay. Next one. Now they want me to calculate tax. Now can you see here? In the memo, they're always going to do the line method, which for me is Greek. I don't like this. So I will go, and you know what? That thing is big enough for you to fit in a T. And you don't even have to say it, Sash, because they say it's a calculation. Okay? And a calculation you can do any way you want. So now I say, okay, I've got an opening and a closing and a bank and an income tax. Receivable and payable, receivable and payable. And let's just quickly revise. Receivable is when it has a debit balance or when it's with the current assets. Payable is when it has a credit balance and it's with the current liabilities. So now, when I go look here, I'm going to look for Sash. And there is Sash. And I see both of them are receivables. Can you see that? Please don't just go and think, oh, it says debit, so I'm going to put it on the debit side. This debit is an indication for me that it's a receivable. Okay, so the opening is a receivable, meaning the opening is a debit. 111,000. The closing is also receivable, but can you see now it's a credit? Even though it says here debit, remember this is my balance BD. With the closing I work with my balance CO, opposite. So here it goes, 37,600. Then I go look for my tax. They gave me income tax is 553,000, and now I just balance. So it's 111 minus equal. Okay. Can you see this answer here? They went from this side. This plus minus. The second one they went this minus. Both is perfect. Okay. Now they want dividends. So dividends paid, you always want the opening plus the interim. Ne? So if I go look for shareholders for dividends, they do not give me the opening, which they usually do. They gave me the closing. So none of this I'm going to use as a dividend. I can use it in the calculations. Maybe. Okay. You guys with me? So now let's look. Interim dividends were paid on 30 November 2024. Okay. That's the one I'm looking for. And if I go on, a final dividend I don't care about, but what do I care about? Last year's final dividend. Why last year's final dividend? Because that is my opening. Can you see he really pulled out all the stops of asking things to check if you really understand where the things come from, that you didn't just go and exam train yourself. Okay. So now I want a final dividend. What was my amount of shares in issue again? Oh, 500. So can you see this is where he gets the 500 times 22 cents. Got it. So this is my opening, which is last year's final. Now I want this year's interim. And can you see the interim is declared after the issue, before the repurchase. So it would be on that 800,000. You see? 820 cents. And there we go. Any questions? Yes.
Where did you get the 20 cents from?
The 20 cents. Okay, so the 20 cents they didn't give me. Okay? So where did I get that 20 cents? Anybody? Oh, there. If you look at number D, the dividends per share is 48 cents. Ne? So 48 cents, so I've got a total dividend equal interim plus final. So the interim I don't know. The final is, they also don't give me the final. But I can calculate the final, can't I? Let's go look. If I calculate the final, they give me the final here, and they say everybody qualified for dividends. So meaning, how many shares were in issue? 705. So if I think about it, 705,000 times dividends, I don't know, gives me the final of 224. So now I need to solve X. How will I solve X? I'm basically going to say 224 times 100 divided 705, and that's going to give me my X is what? Anybody? 0 point?
Can you please redo this? I didn't understand that.
Okay, so my head says, okay, first of all, I want you to see that this only counts 2 ticks. Can you see that? So, now lady, the first thing you say is, where do I get this? Can you see you're going to go into a rabbit trail? You're going to start falling and falling and falling into the trap of trying to find this thing. But it only counts. Can you see, if I got that 110 right, everybody can do that. And I plussed with any random thing, I will get that principle as well. So I can get 3 out of 5 without knowing how to get that 20. Okay, I want you to understand that difficult doesn't mean more. You hear me? Especially with this guy. Now, let's go on. My idea is this. The total is equal to the interim plus the final. Okay? They gave me the total dividends is 48 cents. Right?
And where did they give you?
Here, in number D. Dividends per share, 48 cents. Okay? So I know my total is 48 cents. I can calculate the final, because the final they give me the dividend and I have calculated the units. So if I can get the final cents, this one, I can say 48 minus the final gives me the interim. Okay, so we round it off to 32. 32, then it gives me 16 cents. This doesn't make sense. Okay, let's try this. 224 times 100, what does that give you? 314. It's the same. 31.4.
No, ma'am, it's 314,73.
It can't, oh, okay, because I times 100. If I don't times 100, I have 31.4. And that still gives me 16 cents. Okay, let's see. I used the final instead of the 800. Why must I rather use the 800 in this case? Because of that sentence. These shares qualify for final dividends. Meaning, I worked it out that they don't qualify. Can you see my mistake? So if I say 800,000, times x over 100 gives me 22,400. So I'm going to say 22,400 times 100 over 800. What do I get there? 28. So now I know my final is 28. So 48 minus 28 gives me the 20. Is everybody sharp? Can I say again, please, please, don't sit on things like this. Your goal is not to answer everything in a question. Your goal is to answer every question, something. Okay, because every question has got easy stuff and difficult stuff. And you want to first pick up all the easy stuff before you go back and start with the difficult stuff. Okay, so everybody sharp. Next one. Let's see what surprise is now. Okay, so now they want the cash flow from financing. You guys, I cannot tell you how many times in my life people got confused with financing and investing. I do not know how to get you to not be confused. So I'm going to tell you how I remember it. Okay? Investing. The biggest investment or the safest bet to invest in is land and buildings. If you buy a property, that's the best investment you can make. So your investment, can you see there is two lines? Ne? I want you to see how my brain works. So there's two lines. If I make it straight, can you see it looks like an F? So investment is the 3 F's. Buy fixed assets, sell fixed assets, increase, decrease, fixed deposit. Investment is the F. 3 F's. You guys get it? So in other words, the thing that says F is not the 3 F's. Okay. The thing that says F, financing. How do you finance your business? Through earn and borrow funds. Where do I get the money from to have a business? Ne? So, earn and borrowed. Can you see the difference? And usually they love asking the financing. Okay, so now, financing. Can you see? They didn't give you the format. So this is one of the formats you wrote down. And you don't have to write it like this. You can just say, sell shares, buy shares, increase, decrease, loan. Okay. Now, what do I already have? When I look at my question, or even if I go back to my answer, I already got that amount. So I transfer it. Ne? The repurchase, be careful. If I buy back, repurchase, ne? I have a buy price, which splits into an average and a above average. The average price I find in the capital. The above average I find in the retained income. Whatever I buy, I find in the cash flow. So I'm looking for this one. So what one do I have? I have the average already. You see? What was the average? The average was that 969. So can you see? 969. So if I have the 969, I already got a tick. Okay? But what do I need? I need the total. So they gave me this. Now my pages is confused. They gave me this. The average price is 85% of the repurchase price. So can you see if I take that 1020, ne? I know the 1020 is 85. I'm looking for 100. What is that? Oh, why is this so big? 12 rand. So if I say 12 rand times the shares repurchased, which I calculated as 95, I get the repurchase price. Or I can say the 1020 times 15 over 85. Then I get 1 rand 80. The 1 rand 80 I can times with the 95, and whatever answer I get there, I can add to the 969. You guys get the two different methods? Just know the one I want here is the 100. This is the 85. This is the 15. Does it make sense? Okay. Loan, please guys, loan is usually a straightforward one. Not in this case. And I want you again to see how many marks does this count? And you're going to see how much calculations is into this 2 marks. So, I need the opening and the closing of loan. If I look at my loan, can you see I've got the opening, but I do not have the closing. So I have that 5821. Now, how will I get that closing? In this case, through this. So, can you see that you need to be able to know your formats forward and backwards? So, I know debt equity is loan to she. Ne? Loan, she is 1. Loan is 0.6. How did I get to 0.6? I said loan divided she gives me 0.6. Does that make sense to you? Yes. So what is my loan? I don't know what is my loan. So my loan is X. She they gave me, it's 8950. 8950. Ne? Gives me 0.6. So how will I get X? 0.6 times 8950. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? So, what do I get? 5370. Okay.
Can you please re-explain this?
Okay. So if I look again, they gave me the debt equity ratio. So the debt equity ratio, they tell me the loan is 60 cents in the rand. So if I have my shareholders' equity, I know 60 cents in this rand is the loan. Does that make sense? So I just did, when I must do that calculation, né? If I have loan to she, né? I'm just going to divide she by itself to get the 1, and I'm going to divide the loan by she to get the 0.6. So now I take this as a calculation. I say loan over she equals 0.6. So if I want the loan, it would be the 0.6 times the she. So, you guys fine? Okay. So, that's how they got that one. But can you see it's quite a hefty calculation for only 2 ticks? I'm going to say it again because I hope somewhere it will stuck. More difficult does not mean more marks. If you see this is going to take you onto a rabbit hole, leave it, move, come back. I think you need to practice that. Don't wait in an exam for that situation, because I'm quite sure your instinct when you are studying, your instinct is to sit till you can figure out this thing. Ne? Okay. So I want you to practice. If you take a paper, you practice like I said. First, you write down all your formats in all the questions so that you can identify which one to start with. You're most probably going to start question 2. Now I start. I do all the easy things. The difficult things I start. Ne? Then I come back. Practice your papers like that. Okay. And then once you're done practicing, then you can go sit hours and hours and try and figure it out. Next one. The net change in cash and cash equivalents. Now with this one, I need you to please see that they trick you. Can you see the lines is wrong? Can you see they do it a block and top? And I want to say, Because they confuse you. They confuse you. If I go to the cash flow, the line is there for the change, the opening, the closing. Look, can you see this is wrong? And they do it in every paper. Okay, so what are you going to do? You are not going to be stupid. You're going to draw your own lines. You're going to say, there's the line. And now you can't use a highlighter, but you can use a pen. Right? So you do this for yourself, that your brain doesn't go all confused. I don't know why they do it like this. So you just say to yourself, change, opening, gives me closing. Write it like that for yourself, that you don't block and top. So now, let's go. If I look here, remember for cash, I look at the overdraft and the cash equivalents. Both. Are we fine? So let's go look. Opening. Overdraft. So you write for yourself. Negative 360,800. Positive. Do they give me cash equivalents? 233,000. And that gives me that. Can you see it's wrong or it's right? Yeah, but there's no part marks. The closing, there is no overdraft. There is only a cash. And now I reverse. 936 plus 127 gives me 1063. Okay, can you see it's not a minus plus? Then your answer is going to be wrong. It's not a block and top. I'm going to draw it for you in a highlighter. It's a downward. Okay, you guys with me?